Tom was sitting at a small table in the sports bar, a third mug of beer in front of him. He sipped it slowly, pretending to be deeply interested in the game on the TV. He had recently discovered this spot just a few blocks from his house. The bar marketed itself as a haven for sports fans, but most patrons were more focused on the exceptionally well-poured beers than cheering on their teams. Tom wasn't really watching the screens. His mind was on his crumbling marriage and how he couldn't muster the energy to care anymore. He could forgive his wife for a lot, but not infidelity. It all started when his wife of many years suddenly decided to go on a spa retreat. Ironically, a colleague from work was also there with her husband. The co-worker called Tom and said, her voice uneasy, "Tom, I feel a bit awkward telling you this. I'm at the same resort as your wife, and she's not alone. She's with some man. I'll text you a pic of them in the restaurant. Everyone assumes they're married." Keeping his voice level, he replied, "Thanks for the info, Veronica. Are you having a good time?" "I'm fine. Here with my actual husband. Just don't do anything rash, okay?" "What do you mean by rash?" "Well, your kids are grown now, right? Your daughter had a baby and your son has his own place." "Right, you mentioned that at work. I always thought you two were so solid together." "Yeah, so did I." That same day, Tom talked to the kids, but didn't tell them about the troubles between him and their mom. That evening, Tanya called, sounding chipper. "Hey, hun, I checked into the spa. The room is lovely, food's great, and they've got me set up with a full treatment plan. Saw the doctor today and everything. I'll try to come visit soon." "Oh, missing me already?" he asked, his tone light. "Well, you know what they say. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. I forget who said that, though. It's an old proverb, 17th century, I think." Right. 15 days later, Tanya was back home and working late from day one. "Tom, we're pushing to finish this new project on time, maybe even early," she explained breezily. Tom pretended to believe her, but he knew this new project was named Vincent, the guy who arranged her spa trip and vacationed with his wife. Vincent worked next door, at a different firm on the same floor. Tom found out he was married with 2 kids and noticed Tanya always got home by 8 p.m., likely because her lover had his own issues and couldn't stay out late. The day after the spa, Tanya picked a fight over nothing. Tom was fine with that. He moved into the spare bedroom. The next day, the kids called, scolding him for upsetting their mother. Then came the Fridays. Tanya would roll in around 11 p.m., sleep all Saturday, then head out to see her friend in the evening. She only spoke to Tom when absolutely necessary. Meanwhile, word of Tanya's affair with Vincent spread like wildfire at both their offices. By then, Tom had met with a lawyer and drawn up divorce papers. He expected Tanya would be served with a copy of the filing and a court summons within the week. Since then, he'd been a regular at this sports bar. The lawyer had advised, "Tom, if you're serious about divorce, you need to move out. When things get heated, it could escalate to public fights, even police getting involved." At the bar, Tom met a guy, not much of a drinker, but a die-hard Eagles fan. One day he mixed up the game time and showed up when they weren't playing. He got a beer and sat with Tom, and they got to talking. Tom shared his situation and housing search, and the guy, Andy, replied, "I know a single lady looking to rent out a room. She's got a 3-bed place, can't swing it alone. I'll ask her and let you know tomorrow. Only rules are no booze and no girls over." "Sounds good. Let's meet here tomorrow and go over details." Next day, Andy took Tom to a nearby building and introduced him to the owner, Anna. Over 2 days, Tom moved his stuff in. Tanya didn't react at all during this time. She didn't even notice he'd left. He met with his daughter and son separately and explained everything. His daughter's reaction shocked him. Katie, who adored her mother, spat out, "Dad, she's trash. I never want to see her again. She's not meeting my baby either." "Katie, you can't talk about your mom that way. Don't stoop to her level." "Dad, you're not still thinking this can be fixed. You can't forgive that kind of betrayal." His son took it more calmly, but after hearing the story said, "Dad, I don't want to live with her. Maybe I'll feel differently with time, be able to understand. She's still my mom. She raised us right. It's a shame she couldn't live up to what she taught us. You can stay with us if you want. It'd be tight, but we'd manage. Well, your mom and I basically live in another place now anyway, closer to work. And how are things with you two?" "Okay, I guess. Now I'm just embarrassed for Mom in front of the in-laws and our friends, you know?" Meanwhile, Tanya was at her desk, wondering what to do next. What began as a harmless fling, nothing serious, had grown beyond what she expected or initially wanted. Then Vincent suggested the spa getaway, and she readily agreed. They had a great time, and she totally forgot about her husband. Coming home, she realized how foolish and awful she'd been. But instead of ending things, she picked a fight with Tom. Tom moved to the spare room and stayed put, but she saw no future with Vincent either. Their meetings were brief, mostly coffee dates. Vincent hinted at getting a motel room, but things at home had been unbearable this past week. Tanya wasn't stupid. She knew her husband had likely heard the office gossip. She needed to save her marriage because Vincent was a dead end. She decided Saturday would be their final meetup. All week she hadn't seen Tom. When she got home late, his shoes and coat were gone from the entryway. She wasn't sure if he was even still using his room. Since it was Friday, she figured when she got back she'd knock on his door, see if he was there, and let him know she was going to her friend's Saturday as usual. Just then, the secretary walked in with the mail carrier. The secretary pointed at Tanya, and the mail lady came over asking, "Can I see your ID?" "Sure. Here's my license." Tanya signed for the delivery and was handed an envelope. Seeing the return address, she realized what it was. Tom had filed for divorce, but the workday wasn't over yet. Ignoring the snickers, she sank deep into thought, pondering her next steps. A slim, attractive woman in a business suit strode into the office and asked for Tanya by name. Directed her way, the woman marched up and started pummeling Tanya, shouting, "So you're the homewrecker taking spa trips with my husband, huh? You gonna pay child support for my kids now too, you skank?" The cops arrived swiftly and detained the woman who had assaulted Tanya. It was Vincent's wife who was taken to the hospital by ambulance. She received treatment but refused to be admitted, returning home instead. Looking in the mirror, Tanya was horrified by what she saw. She washed her face and tried to clean herself up as best she could. Realizing she needed to explain right away, she went to Tom's room and knocked. The door wasn't locked, swinging open at her touch. She flipped on the light, but the room was empty. Scanning the space, she noticed all of Tom's things were gone. The phone rang and Tanya rushed to answer, hoping it was her husband. But a police officer stood at the door instead. "Evening, ma'am. I'm your local officer. I'm here about the incident today." "Come in, but nothing happened." "I mean at your office. Nothing occurred there, correct?" "Well, in the office next door before that, a woman assaulted a man. They called the cops. That's why the squad got there so fast." "And what about the man?" "He ran off, but they found him in the basement of your building, passed out in a hiding spot. He was taken by ambulance after you." Tanya recalled that when she was at the hospital and refused admission, they brought in a badly bleeding man. The nurse hurried him into surgery. She had signed some forms and left the exam room for the hall. Tanya had noticed the injured man was wearing a shirt like Vincent's. The officer went on, "The woman attacked you because she's married to the man she beat up next door. He's lucky she only roughed him up. She was brought down to the station and her sister came, said she'd personally handle anyone who hurt her sister." "But that's not relevant here. Are you going to press charges?" "No, I won't. This situation is my fault." "And what fault is that?" "I was having an affair with Vincent, the man beaten next door. I guess his wife found out and came to get even. That's why we're in this mess." "And what will happen with Vincent?" "I'm not staying with him. I don't love him. Now I'm just thinking about making things right with my husband." "And how are things with your husband?" "Not great. I haven't seen him all week. Now I've realized his stuff and he are both gone. No clue where he went." After the cop left, Tanya called her daughter. Katie picked up right away. "Mom, I know what you did to Dad. I don't want to hear any excuses. My husband says you're not welcome in our house, and I agree with him." "Katie, it was just a fling, some harmless fun." "The result of your harmless fun is divorce. Don't call your son either. He feels the same as me." "Sweetie, help me talk to your dad. I'll fix everything." "He's not taking my calls." "I don't know. I'll ask him to call you, but who knows if he will." Tanya hung up, and half an hour later the phone rang. "Tom, I'm listening." "You're listening to me?" "I have nothing to say to you. You wanted me to call, so I did. I want to meet and talk this out. It's late. I have to be up early tomorrow. I'll come to you. We can discuss it tonight." "And what is there to discuss at night?" "We can't throw away our marriage." "Our marriage? You already did that, you just don't realize it. You did whatever you wanted, with no regard for my feelings. Now it's my turn to be selfish like you. I haven't decided what I'm doing yet, but you should know. I didn't ask anyone about the divorce. It was my choice, my final decision. Why are you being so cruel? You started seeing Vincent, went on a trip with him, stayed in the same room, shared a bed with him. You did all this behind my back. People in both your offices knew. It was bound to get back to me. Did you really think I'd just accept it? A serious issue came up today. Yeah, an issue. Vincent's wife showed up at work. And? He's in the hospital, and my face is a wreck. Whose face? Vincent's. So that's why you noticed I wasn't home. I've been gone a while, but honestly, you checked out on me long before. So what's left to discuss now? I'm no plastic surgeon. I can't help you or Vincent. Tom ended the call. Just then, Tanya got a call from her friend Nina. Hey, how are you holding up? Are you all right? Yeah, I'm okay, but there's a lot going on. What about Vincent? I don't know, the ambulance took him. And what does Tom say? Nothing. He doesn't know what happened at the office? I don't think anyone's told him yet. He said he doesn't care what's happening in my life anymore. Is he at the house? No, that's the thing. He's been gone a while now. I thought he was in his room every night. He wasn't there. No, he moved all his stuff out and filed for divorce. When did he have time for that? No idea, but I got served the papers half an hour before Vincent's wife showed up. Do the girls at work know? The office next door knows about your affair too. You know nothing stays secret here. What are you going to do? I don't want a divorce. I want to get my husband back. Are there any chances of that? There's always a chance, but first I need to find him. He moved out. I can't believe he just up and left everything. Could he be at your lake cabin? Are you crazy? It's freezing up there now. Men know how to get by. But that's not like Tom. Call him. Maybe he'll pick up. And say what? That I'm not mad he left? Tanya, are you dense? What do you mean? You messed up big, and you're mad at him for leaving. You think that's the issue here? Looks like Vincent's wife hit you too hard in the head. You got caught cheating, and today's the fallout. More consequences are coming. Watch who you open the door for. What if Tom comes by? He's got keys, but if Vincent's wife's sister shows up, you're in for it. I know Tom won't come back right away, but I need him close by. We should spend more time together, share a bed again. I'll do couples therapy if I have to. We're not that old. We just need to rekindle things. Aren't you getting ahead of yourself? What do you mean? Why are you bothering me with all this? I don't care. I'm not losing my husband, you are. I'm not wrecking my marriage, you did that. You need to talk to him, not me. Nothing we decide will change your life one bit. But it could have, if you'd listened and stopped seeing Vincent. Now you're stuck in this mess, and I can't tell you what to do. Find Tom and try to convince him. Where should I even look? Start at his job. Someone there knows, but they'll close ranks. You'll have to break that united front. And don't forget about Vincent's wife's sister. To find Tom, Tanya hired a private investigator, but he paid cash everywhere and was careful not to reveal his location. None of his relatives knew where he was, and he told no one about his new place. After leaving his job, he took a vacation with plans to resign. Some mutual friends had spotted him around the city, and not knowing the situation, suggested he go home. But he was determined to sort things out himself before deciding anything. So where are you staying these days? They asked. Come spring, I'm moving to the lake cabin, he said. I'll fish for bass, get a boat, but that's after the divorce. Is divorce really necessary? Maybe not. But if I meet a woman and want to marry her, I'm not that old yet. The divorce date was set, and the first hearing happened. News spread fast in the small town about how the wife had gone after her husband and his mistress. The same judge handling the assault case against Vincent didn't consider Tanya's role since she declined to press charges. They opted to settle things civilly. Vincent did 10 days in a cushy detention center. There, he met a childless policewoman, and they began seeing each other, much to his chagrin. 6 months on, his wife remarried. As for Tom and Tanya, at the first hearing, they were given 3 months to reconcile. 3 months later, they reconvened in court. Tom's attorney represented his interests while Tom himself was absent. In the divorce, Tom only wanted the lake cabin, leaving the condo to his wife. Her lawyer advised dragging it out by claiming rights to the cabin, at which point his attorney announced Tom was relinquishing all property claims to his wife. That settled even the asset dispute. The court ruled, and the marriage was dissolved. Tom's lawyer phoned to inform him of the decision, which would be final in a month. Right then, Tom was having a beer at his usual spot. He had plenty of connections and picked up remote contract work. The landlady was thrilled with her tenant. He didn't drink heavily, never made scenes, and never brought anyone around. One day he surprised her. She got home from work to find the kitchen table set for two. Turning red, Tom said, "I hope this isn't too forward, but I know it's your birthday and I couldn't let it go uncelebrated." Anna's eyes welled up. In all the bustle, she'd forgotten her own birthday. But the surprises weren't over. They had dinner together, and later her brother took them to a theater premiere. During intermission, they sipped champagne at the theater bar. They got back late and spent hours in the kitchen chatting. At the show, some acquaintances spotted Tom and couldn't resist telling Tanya. She had lots of questions but couldn't get all the answers. All she gathered about his companion was that she seemed nice, dressed simply, and wore little makeup. She was poised, and yes, they had champagne at the theater bar, Tom's treat. Tanya flew into a rage and called her daughter, insisting she help bring her dad home. Katie listened to her mom's plea and rang Tom. He picked up. "Hey, sweetie, what's up? Did something happen?" "Dad, nothing happened. But you divorced Mom and went to the theater yesterday with a new date. You know the whole social scene was at that premiere. They saw you and told Mom. She's furious. Should I skip town because of a divorce? She had no qualms about going to cafes and restaurants with her lover. And she went to that resort where half our town vacations this time of year. We're officially divorced. Mom says the court order isn't final yet and she's going to appeal. If she wants to throw away money, she can appeal. It won't change anything. Dad, why can't you forgive her? Honey, would you forgive your husband? Actually, no, too soon to ask you that. Live with your husband 20 years, raise kids, then ask yourself if you could forgive him. Has Mom called your son? No, she hasn't. He blocked her immediately and got a new number. Do you need any money? Thanks, Katie. I always keep my card funded, and I'm not a big spender. Just make sure you're saving, but don't wear ratty clothes or go hungry. That evening, Tom and Anna went to the movies. Hearing this, Andy asked, "You making moves on my sister?" "Why not? Anna's beautiful. She could make any man happy. We're close in age. I've been here 6 months, and I think she's the kind of wife I want." "What kind? Not snooty and showy?" "Yeah, and she wants kids but can't have them. So adopt. What's the holdup?" "You talk to her yourself. That's her call, not mine." That day, Tom proposed to Anna. They spent hours in the kitchen over a bottle of wine, and a month later, they married. At the wedding were Tom's kids, Katie and Mike. Tanya stayed in that day drinking wine with her friend Nina and crying on and off.